Hello, guys. Welcome to episode 4 of my healing journey. My name is Smangele Sibisi, and obviously, I'm Mkize. So on episode 3, part 1 and 2, we were talking about my first engagement, talking about my first job, we're talking about finding my brother, and we were talking about a no sibling relationship that's still occurring between me and my brother. And then we spoke about how you sit on your emotions and allow yourself to go through the emotions, then jumping onto the other side, and then obviously being on the other side, realizing that actually there's barriers that hinders you from moving on, of which it's dealing with your trauma. And today we are touching a very delicate subject. Today we talk about Smangele losing her mom. And yeah, so there's tissue here, and yeah. And yeah, we're going to share how I lost my mom in 2020 and how mom's death evoked the childhood trauma, how the way she died woke up, the assaults that I witnessed during teenager, and also in my late 20s. So yeah, that's for today.
Thanks, Ma. So, how are you feeling today? Knowing what we're going to be unpacking today.
I feel like I want to tell my mom's story.
Okay.
I feel like I want to just share on not her just passing away, but her passing away did something to me. And I feel like I'm at a point where I want to just tell the story, and obviously just to help the next person understand if they get overcrowded by these emotions after they've lost a loved one that left the same way my mom did. It's okay to feel how they would feel.
Okay.
Because I think at one point I thought to myself, okay, why does it feel like I'm exploding inside?
Okay.
And why does it feel like mom's passing took half of my life? As we had said before, mom was a suitcase that I always carried with me.
Yeah.
And now that she has passed on, what do I do now with the suitcase? Do I just drop it? Do I just keep carrying on with it? And I think me wanting to start the conversations was me choosing to still work on that suitcase and eventually closing that chapter in the way that I want to close it. And I feel like having these conversations is going to help me close that chapter in the way that I would want to close it.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm heavy today. I feel
can
like
hear you
tears are like they're knocking. But yeah, we are going to talk about it. We're going to cry about it. We're going to laugh about it, and it's okay. And that's how I feel today.
So before we get started, as Usma said, today we're exploring a very, as you said, you're exploding inside. So I can use the word explosive space in her life. So it's an even bigger trigger warning that we just want to highlight. So please be aware that this conversation is going to be emotional. So it's just we're putting out the disclaimer of the trigger warning, and we're also just saying that we do have numbers on our pages for you to reach out to people who can journey with you in a more clinical space for the whole healing journey that we are also having in this space. So before we jump into that,
Yes.
into that specific event, I want to take us before that day. So in your 20s, as we heard in the last 2 episodes, you were talking about how you had tried to leave your mom aside. Umyeke, angisangeni, andizi, and I'm going to be living my life. And you were living your life. But then at some point you realized, Uguti, it doesn't work. Uma, like you're saying, is this suitcase engiphathayo, which is constantly with me. And that's when then you decided, okay, let me go buy her umkuku wake to just at least asuke from where she was currently staying with her abusive boyfriend abe nendawo yakhe at least. Then you were having that trouble of feeling ukuthi uma still doesn't deserve me to love her the way that she thinks she needs to be loved by me, or I want to love her, and you realized it's because you were carrying all that stuff with you. So you were doing from a functional aspect ukuthi uma kufanele ninakekele, so I'm buying her igrosa, but you were not doing it out of just your heart, truly wanting to lavish her like you were doing for ugogo. But you said that you've understood that space, and you got to a place where you and your mom were starting to have a relationship. And I want to know about that relationship. Ugutana, before we get to the fateful day, where was Usma with Uma? Your relationship, how you were feeling towards her, and just how you were starting to grow back together. Yeah.
So this happened, I think, 3 years ago, when I was called by Ma's friends. They said to me, Uma wegula, and women is valid, and I'm like her. Umuntu uthanda ukukhuluma, just invite her, we'll sit outside and we'll have chats, and sometimes she had that relationship with her friends.
Yeah.
You know? And this time around it was different. Who's valid doesn't understand what's happening, so please come. And so I drove there. When I got there, and yeah, she was weak. She had lost weight. Uma was a very tiny person. She was short. She was tiny. I think when I got her from my father was tall. Growing up, I was tiny like mom.
Yeah.
Gogo used to say, mama buena. But I think one day I took it from my dad side.
Yeah.
So she had lost weight. She was weak. She wasn't eating, so she looked very bad. She couldn't even walk properly. So ngamthatha, and then I remember I'm sure Gogo because it was late.
Yeah.
And then I went home, and then the following day I drove back in the morning to go get her. And then I took her to a private doctor. I said, because I don't want to be waiting in the public facilities. Let me just go straight to someone who's going to just attend to her immediately. So we went to a private doctor where Gogo usually goes, and just by looking at her, the doctor said to me, your mom is very sick.
Yeah.
And so we placed her on the bed, and then she analyzed everything. She was like, one, she's got something that looks like a chronic lung issue.
Okay.
And I just did HIV test, and they came back positive. So her mom has HIV and AIDS, and she said, also finding problems with her kidneys.
Okay.
And she said, okay, luckily she doesn't have TB. Okay. But once you're exposed to HIV and AIDS, your body gets immune to everything that just enters the body.
Yeah.
So right now her body is just at the state where it is attacked left, right and center. So I'm going to give you medication to give to her so that it just lowers the pain, but you will need to take her to a public facility because in that rose will control the free facilities that the free medication that she needs to get. And yeah, so they gave her everything, injection, they gave me, I think, multivitamins, something. He gave her everything that she was going to need until we take her to a public facility, of which we did. So we took her to a public hospital that is closer to home. And they started her on everything.
Okay.
They started her on the ARVs treatment, and then there was a problem with the heart as well. So there was high blood pressure in the heart, the kidneys, and then the lung. So she had a chronic lung illness.
Okay.
And at that time, when we went to get her, one of the lung had pneumonia. So yeah, I think she stayed 3 months in hospital.
Okay.
They were still trying to balance her, bring everything down, but put you on this treatment, see how it reacts and all of that. I think it was that moment where I said, you know what, she needs me.
Okay.
And me having a car at that moment, it was flexible for me to visit hospital now and then. And also to go buy things and unlike Gogo will have to use my taxi to go visit. So every time it was visitations, I would either go myself if Gogo can't go, or sometimes I would just go home, pick up Gogo and everyone else, and then go visit. And it was nice. It was. She used to say what she used to call it scenting, because sasingena plastic as words. So it was nice. I think she had realized what her family is there for the very first time. We were there initially almost every day to visit, and I think she kind of felt loved at that moment, because she wouldn't say. So we would be called literally on days when she was with and us showing up every day when she was in hospital, I think it gave her the hope, it's okay, my family is there for me. And so she was in and out of hospitals, in and out. Sometimes she would take a medication and then and then she would have to be admitted again. And I remember this one time, so the lady with the tattoos and her mom. So this one time what happened is, so public hospital, I think one thing I don't like about it is having a disconnect between the wards and the pharmacy. So you would be checked by a doctor, they'll give you a prescription, you take it to the pharmacy. Pharmacy, what they do is they don't dispatch the medicine to you, they don't explain anything.
Okay.
They just dispatch the medication. But sharp. They don't explain how 1, 2, 3, 4 is supposed to work. Obviously, they write it on the on the bottles. Would you take 2? But they don't explain this is for what and then this is for what.
Okay.
And then sometimes you find that the doctor says, I'm going to change your medication. They don't literally give you these 2 bottles and say, we are changing you from this to that.
Okay.
They'll just tell you, we're going to change your medication. A pharmacy does work. But when you get to pharmacy doesn't tell you to stop drinking.
Okay.
Because this is substituting a little pink, little purple.
Yeah.
So there was a point where mom fell sick and she was hallucinating. Every part of her body was sore. When you touched her, she was literally crying with it is sore. The friends called me back to say, hey, now mom will do that. And as I was going there, this time around, and I drove there, and because it was late, I went to Gogo, said, no, bring her the side. So I took all the medication that she had.
Yes.
I went to Wagogo, and then, this was before this scene as I hallucinated. Sahamba said especially for her appointment. So she missed her appointment by 2 days.
Yeah.
She went on the dead day. And then when we got there, the nurses, what they picked up was, you didn't come on your day. So meaning these other 2 days or those 3 days, what were you drinking?
Yeah.
Because when we give you medication, it's supposed to last you until
your next appointment.
So Ma wasn't she wasn't a talkative person. She would rather not talk if you ask her things that she feels like I don't even have answers to answer to. So she kept quiet. But because I was there, I got so furious. Because the nurse kept saying things like, this is why you guys die, because you don't come and collect your treatments on time. And you sit at home and don't take your treatment. It was so bad. And we were in a room full of people. And she's busy screaming at my mom. I walked in. And I gave her a piece of my mind. And I'm like, you guys don't understand. This is the same reason why patients don't come back to collect their treatments, because you make it a point that they feel like they are nothing without your treatment. And you don't understand how, one, they get affected being in a position of accepting that they're sick with the sickness. And then 2, they have to come here and look at you guys while you give them crap. And that lady started apologizing and said, you don't understand what happened. You don't even ask how is it possible that you still have medication at home? So now I told the lady, I said to her, the thing is, there's a disconnect between the pharmacy and the wards.
Yeah.
Ma was given a medication that could last her for the next 6 months. But you guys thought she was given a medication that could last her the 30 days.
Yeah.
That she's supposed to be at home and come back. She was like, it's impossible. I was like, it's possible. We do have the medication right now. And she was like, no, there's no way. There could have been a problem. Like, that's the thing. You want now to narrate to the story after I've told you what happened. But at first you attacked her for having medication that you can't account with
Yeah.
you know. And I remember I said to her, I want to see a psychologist delapaya. I don't know if they call it a psychologist or what, but we had to go to a room where they're going to consult us and tell me what medication I can buy.
Okay.
And I said, I want that right now. You know, and then they put us in the room with the lady. She then explained Ma's health to me, how her medication, because she was taking medication for the ARVs, and then she was taking medication for the lungs, she was taking medication for the kidneys, and then it was a high blood pressure. So there was a lot of pills that she had to take. So explain to me the party of my ARVs with the same as I.
Yeah.
And then the lady started explaining. Okay, sure. So now, going to the hallucination episode. So it happened that Ma was given the medication and they didn't explain anything. Ganti, they had given her the same medication that she's taking at home, but in different bottles.
Okay.
They're not saying to her, don't take any more, the one that you have.
Yes.
Throw it away or something, or bring it back to the hospital because you started this one.
Yeah.
Now what Ma did is she thought it was different medication. Kanti, she was double dosing on everything. So it sent her to hallucination and BP went high, the kidney started acting because now it was just too much medication and she has been taking this for a few days. And then so we took her to the hospital. We went to emergency side, and the doctor that attended to her, she said to me, your mom's everything is very high when we're doing tests.
Yeah.
What's wrong? What went wrong? That's when I started telling her. She's actually taking medication for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. She said to me, bring me all the medication that she has. Gizene back. I gave it to her. She puts the medication on the table. She's like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's the same medication in different bottles. 1, 2, 3, same medication, different boxes. Literally, she had to take only one
Of each.
of each, not take 5 and then 3. And no, that's why everything is high. That's when I told her as well, Wuti, the thing is there's that detach between the two sections of the hospital. So when the doctor gives her a prescription, when she forwards it to pharmacy gives her the medication without explaining. And then she said, do not worry, we'll bring everything down, but she'll have to go into isolation because we can pick up an infection as well.
Okay.
So she went in again for 3 months.
Another 3 months.
Yes, another 3 months in hospital. And I think at this time, we thought she wasn't going to survive because she had problems breathing. And then she caught the infection, so literally we would have to just peek through the window, not enter her room. And at the time when we were able to enter the room, we had to put on the plastic wears and no touching, talking from a distance. And yeah, I think at the time I was like, me, I'm gonna love this woman until eternity. Because now, she's at a point where she's just now a regular at the hospital. You know. And that's where we were in the 3 years, past 3 years of our lives. It was regular hospital visits, but she had found a boyfriend that was not physical.
Okay.
We were happy with it. Boyfriend is tulele. Now uyayithanda boyfriend yakhe. She would even say we would say come visit, and she'd be like, no, I can't leave my boyfriend alone. He was from Lesotho, so I think he didn't have any families. So she would say, no, I can't leave him. And uzithulele, and boyfriend akhona bekula abantu laba badila nge-recycling, be-collector.
Okay.
Hayi yo noma maze collectile etholile imali nyani uyangipha mina imali. He would buy her clothes, he would buy her shoes. No, he would brag about shem no masingana next kodwa umuntu wami uyangenzela. So we were at the point where we felt like, okay, phew, it was better because Ma's lifestyle was sahlala on our tippy toes.
Yeah.
Thinking, oh, one day so this totally called to nangu ngambulele or nangu wenzweni or because behlala eyi-1 and obviously it's a squatter camp, so ziningi into besesezenzeka laphaya. It wasn't as safe as before.
Okay.
Now it was dangerous because there was a time where she told us ukuthi abantu sebabangenile emikhukhwini yabo bayabulawa. So we would say, come stay home. And you're like, no, I'm hungry. But yeah, once she found that boyfriend, we were all like, it's okay. At least we told you boyfriend is
Okay.
little did we know.
Okay. So you've said quite a bit, and I think one of there are two things which I'd like us to sit on.
Okay.
I'm talking about sitting in emotions. I mean,
Yes.
you made a statement and you said, "Ngabona ukuthi mom needs me,"
Yes.
and then you were there. Where were you with that? Did you need your mom? In all of this, was it still mom needs me, or I also need my mom?
I think this was me needing my mom. And mom needing me. And being the person that was able to take care of things around. It was, even if I had a choice not to, akekho umuntu ongamsiza.
Okay.
Also, this was Smangele who had now set in her emotions of it. Okay, I'm accepting mom is mom this way, and I just need to do adjustments on myself. Okay, how do I accommodate Uma
Okay.
being who she is? But unfortunately, the sitting into emotions happened just before Uma sisothola ukuthi uyabona nje.
Okay.
So that came in at the point where I'm like, okay, maybe the sitting in my emotions was needed to make room for how I was gonna see mom now sekagula,
Yeah.
and how I was going to accept and act on what's okay, how do we move forward with me having sat in my emotions and understood who and why mom chose the decisions that it did with her life. And so me was saying to myself, it's okay, maybe I needed to sit in my emotions because it was preparing me for this part of mom's journey that was coming. And there was no anger at all.
Okay.
There was no anger at all. There was no resentment.
Okay.
There was the inner child that wanted her mom now. The
Okay.
inner child that felt like, okay, probably this is the right time for us to bond back.
Okay.
You know, and yeah, I mean, when we used to do hospital visits, my girl pick up and work, we would talk, we would laugh and we would start by the garage, ask her, do you want anything to eat? And then some days she would call me the day before to say, it was nice.
Okay.
It was, I think it was the relationship that I've always wanted from my mom.
Okay.
Even though it came in a way which now I was taking care of her.
Yeah.
But the fact that we could sit down and talk and laugh and talk about the past, it was nice.
Okay.
It was, yeah. I was at peace.
Okay.
I was at peace.
That's awesome.
Yes.
So Uma, she's in and out of hospital. I mean, I think calculated 6 months. It was a spending of 6 months. Was she in longer than that? Calculator, was it just the 6 months?
No, she was in there longer than that.
Okay.
So in the 3 years after she was diagnosed,
Mm-hmm.
probably she's been in hospital, I could say a year if we combine all the months together for a year, but not straight year,
Okay.
in different months. Yeah, and obviously in between those hospital stays, there was the visits that she
Yeah.
had to do every month.
Okay.
And yeah,
Okay.
and in those hospital visits, the new boyfriend, bekakhona, even though bekasaba ukuvakasha esibhedlela, I don't know why.
Okay.
But there's times where he would go, mom would say, no, obezile usibandlane, but it wasn't something that he would do it frequently. He looked like a shy guy,
Mm-hmm.
a reserved guy. Like
Mm-hmm.
you couldn't see through past that veil.
Yeah.
He blocked everything. Like
Okay.
you would see him, when you see him, would shy away and want to disappear.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So in the time Uma is not in hospital,
Yes.
so your relationship starts to come back together, triggered by, like you say, it's an unfortunate event, but it started to answer that thing that you're saying, Ubutana, you're a little child who was her mother. So when she's not in hospital and usekaya and you're taking her up and down, how does your relationship look like?
So between times where mom is not in hospital, okay, can you please repeat the question?
It's okay. When mom is not in hospital and we are more now when you're taking her to the doctor's visits and all that jazz, what is your relationship like?
Yo, like I said, kumnandi, man. I think we, for very first time, we were mother and daughter.
Awesome.
We could talk about relationships. We could talk about the fact that we says I'm funny at time, and I'd say to her, I'm a boyfriend, not boyfriend. Work at a time. But I could say to her, some sort of I should go like this. Sometimes being like it's where some sort of I should go time. You know, she. If I look at it now, I'd say you know, when they say abantu abahambayo, they do this thing of uniting people together. Or they would act fine and then masebadlulile emhlabeni like, but they were okay. Ushone kanjani? So I think the past year, I don't know if God was preparing us or God was giving us memories with her so that we can say cool. So yeah, since I'm looking to together, I would take them for spa treatments, would go out to lunch, and yeah, we were creating memories. We were creating fun memories. It was fun. I remember how I used to say to them, I'm going to take them to Durban one day. And Gogo would complain, hey, it's cats that will have to sit in the car when we go to Durban. And yeah, we always planned trips with them. I planned trips with them. It's unfortunate that but yeah, we planned trips together, and yeah, we would talk about boyfriends. I'm doing a boyfriend okay, and then and it was nice. It was nice. She was a best friend now. But forget time from Coco. But yeah, it was nice. When she passed away, it felt a bit lighter because now I could relate back to the last memories we had together. And like if she had passed away, Singapore created those memories, probably I would have crushed hard because those assaults only. But now I look back, I'm like, when this case I said a student, so it's like a fucking knife. and we would start laughing. We would start laughing, no go, because you used to take care of us. You used to take us out and all of that. And yeah, it's those memories that I hold on to.
Okay. So you're in a good space now.
Yes.
Are we ready to jump to the day?
Let's jump to the day.
Okay.
So we're doing this.
Yeah, so how I'd love for you to share it with us is take us through the day. Smangele wakes up except if you can just take us through that day. What happens during that day? What are you feeling? Yeah.
So before we get to the day, I just want us to have a background feeling what Smile's life where was during the during the year of 2020.
Yes.
So in March, obviously we had the lockdown, and then I think it was July, if not June, where salons were now allowed to operate. And the business had accumulated so much debt because we had 2 branches, and the landlords wanted their monies during lockdown, and there was no income generated. So there was a lot of squalities that we went through, that even when we opened, the landlords wanted their money. And because it was just a lot, and I mean, everyone is looking at you to fix things. And Nami at that point, I'm like, guys, lockdown dribbled me, so I don't even have any options, any ideas where to from here. So I decided to close. So I decided to close one salon. And then the landlords from the other side, they called me. They said, we can start a new relationship, a new contract with a new payment plan and all of that. We do away with the old school. What else? The other one, when we closed, they said to me, no, come get your stuff. It's okay. And then you will just pay us, but we can't carry on with the relationship because you haven't settled.
Yes.
I said, okay, sure. So we took the furniture and everything, and obviously having to then retrench the staff. So now we're focused in one salon, new relationship, and me telling the landlord that things are not the same. Foot traffic is not the same. So don't expect to get rent the same way that we did previously. They looked like people who understood. Until this one day they walked in and said, we're actually going to close down the salon in the next 2 hours. So you need to be out of here. And don't take anything. At that time, I think it was just after they had opened regulations of which we can now visit other provinces.
Yes.
So we had then went to KZN to go see my mom-in-law after having seen them for the period of 6, 7, 8 months. So we're like, okay, let's go home, see mom, see the daughter, my husband's daughter. And yeah, so all this happens while I'm in KZN.
I just want to ask, I walk home.
I'm not in the salon. The manager calls me and says, Smile, we were just evicted. They told us in the next 2 hours they're going to close down the salon. I said to them, I don't have any plans. So rather, grasp as much things as you can get, call an Uber and pay for the Uber. And then just take, especially the system, the books, we need those. So just take as much as you can. So they did, fortunately. And just as they entered the Uber, that's when the landlord came to the salon. So at least luckily. But there were clients inside the salon, meaning they had to turn away those clients. And I remember there was one client that they were busy with. And then she said, it's fine, I will follow you guys to Soweto and so that you can finish my hair, I don't mind. And that's how we then closed the second salon. Now we had to retrench the other people. So in total we had to retrench 29 people. Now Smangele is like, ooh, what's happening? What is happening? Everything is just going left, you know, and we found a small space. We started operating. So this was September. September, October, November. Still things are not going as Smangele wants, but Smangele is accepting that situations you can't change sometimes. And you just gotta be there in those situations and go through. December 2020. So we decided that we're gonna have mom-in-law to come visit the side because we don't have money to go to the other side. So we go fetch mom-in-law and the kids, and they visit beginning of December. I remember it was on the 9th of December. That's when they came and collected the car. Sharp. Smile is still navigating December, but mom-in-law is here, so things seemed a bit. She's calming me down.
Yeah.
She's helping me navigate the business issues and all of that. It was on the 25th of December.
Christmas.
Yes. We woke up, so it was me, ex-husband, his twin brothers, his child, sister's child, mom-in-law, and me. We woke up, today's Christmas, Smile's going to cook. I love, one thing I know, I love hosting people. Smile takes out her plates, her platters, her nice, nice everything. Smile is cooking, is preparing lunch. So through the midst of cooking, we're sharing jokes, we're sharing stories. Mom-in-law tells me about how they've had their Christmas days. I think this was the second, if not third Christmas we've spent together. So she takes me back to the days, how they used to prepare for their Christmas. So I called Gogo. Right in Yapila. Gogo, no, we're okay, we are cooking, blah, blah, blah. But I'm worried about your mom because we had asked her to come spend Christmas with us. But she said she wasn't going to leave the boyfriend behind. So, and a day before, she asked me for money. I said, I can't give you money if you're not going to go home.
Yeah.
And then she then called Gogo. Gogo calls me to beg me to, no, it's fine, you know what, it's okay. We are accepting that she doesn't want to come this Christmas. Just send her the money. So I sent her an e-wallet. And she then sends me, please call. So I called, like, okay, I got the money, thank you. I'm with my boyfriend, blah, blah. And it sounded like they were having fun. They were having a party, but it sounded like they were having fun. That was on the 24th. 25th, I call Gogo in the morning. Sharp. We're trying to call your mom, but we can't reach her. Like, maybe the cell phone is off. I think it was around 12. I started feeling the feeling of, when you feel like something has happened, but you can't wake off the feeling. So I thought, maybe I'm tired of being cooking since morning, Just as I sit down, around 2, I've just dished for myself. And everyone has dished. And then Mom-in-law was like, no, let's sit down and eat now. You've been standing. The call comes in. They say, please come. Your mom is hurt. She needs to be hospitalized. So I'm like, okay, I'm coming just now. So now, remember, Smart doesn't have a car.
Yeah.
So now we need to call an Uber. As we're waiting for Uber, I asked my ex-husband and one of the twins to please accompany me. Gogo calls. Now she's panicking. She's like, these people keep calling me. They're telling me she's going to lose her life if we are not there on time. So now I'm panicking. I'm like, okay, sharp. And we drive to her place. So now, when they are telling me is, mom has her own shack. The boyfriend has her own shack. So they went to boyfriend's place the previous night.
Okay.
Yes. What they're saying to me is, we heard him saying that today he's going to beat her.
Okay.
But we took it lightly because we were all drunk. But he kept saying it that it don't work like today.
Yeah.
And now I'm getting angry.
Deep breath.
I'm getting angry now. I'm looking at the friends. They're telling me that they heard the boyfriend saying that. But why didn't you do anything? So when we got there, the first thing I saw was her face.
Is this at the boyfriend's place?
No, so what they did is the boyfriend, they had the fight the night on the 24th. And then the boyfriend left her to go get drunk. And then the friends sent her children in the morning to go look for her because it's Christmas Day. She didn't come back. Where is she? And then when the kids got there, she then told the kids, please go call your mom and tell her that I'm hurt. I need her to come. So now what they did is they grabbed my mom. She couldn't walk. They grabbed my mom and then they walked with her towards where we were gonna park our car. So they brought her up and then they waited for us. So when I got there, the first thing I saw was her face. She was swollen. Everything was swollen. Her mouth, her eyes were closed. And yeah, it was a traumatizing sight. And I ran towards her. People were just standing. In front of her. I remember this one guy said, if this was my sister, I would have killed that dog. But then it takes me back to how women can be victimized and no one stands up for them.
Yeah.
You know? And they were just standing there and the friends were panicking. And the first thing I said when I got there, I said, Yimi Smangele. And she called me. And she started saying, this is Tsukulu who did this to me. You know, and it's hurting. You know. And I said, it's fine, I'm here to take you to a hospital. And she said, okay. And yeah, I asked for water because I wanted to wipe the blood on her face. You know. And she also wanted water to drink. But she couldn't drink properly because I think she had broken ribs. And to get her into the car was a mission because she had the broken ribs, so we wanted to balance her and she started screaming. So my ex-husband actually wanted to lift her to put her in the car and she started screaming, saying that it was sore on the ribs. So finally we got her into the car. So I sit next to her and then the other twin sit next to the other side. So we sit her next to the door.
Yeah.
And then she says to me, please hold on to my left rib. As I hold on to my ribs, I feel things are moving. I feel things are moving. She said to me, please press harder because it's making it difficult to breathe. As I breathe, I feel like something's just scratching inside. So I press on the ribs and it's like it feels better. She wants to tell me what happened. She keeps telling me. She started hitting me, she started punching me. And I'm like, don't worry about that, we'll talk about it. Now let's worry about getting you to hospital. Yeah. So at this moment I'm praying in the car, saying, God, give me the strength to finally move this woman from where she stays to my grand's place because we can't live this life. We can't, no. It's too much for her. And we get to the hospital. I think one thing the securities could see when we got to the gate was her. Mm-hmm. They quickly opened the gate and they said to us we must rush to the emergency section. And we did that and then they gave her a wheelchair. And yeah, we went to register. They said please go collect the file. Blah, blah. So now we are in the queue. It's on the 25th of December. There were many people coming in with stabbed wounds, gunshot accidents. So now we are in the queue. And I think it was a time where we were not allowed to visit people.
Yeah, I think we were
December.
level 3.
Yes, we were not supposed to visit. So they had built a tent outside for people to wait, a waiting area. So we were waiting there. It was me, my ex-husband, and the twin. And then I called Gogo to just let her know how everything looks like, you know. And then eventually said to me, "No, come get me. I'll come there." And So I sent her an Uber. I asked her to please bring a blanket for us, a blanket for Ma, and some socks and some top because she didn't have anything on her feet, and the top that she was the pajama that she was wearing was covered in blood. So can you please bring a top for her as well? So she did, and I asked the securities to can I please go and help her wear the clothes. So as I was busy helping her, she kept saying that the boyfriend, actually he wanted to kill her because after he did everything, he left her there and he didn't even call for help or anything. And then we stayed the entire night. The 25th of December, we were in hospital the entire night, and they had said to us, don't leave her until you know if she's going to be kept in or not. So we stayed, Go, and the ex-husband and the twin brother. And so I think it was until 4 a.m. Still no hearing from the hospital what's happening. So I say, no, you know what, let's go home, everyone, freshen up, and then I'll come back and then I'll let everyone know what's come back. So go Nazi, and then now my mom-in-law says to me, no, I'm coming with you.
Yeah.
Now it's on the Saturday on the 26th. I'm like, okay, let me take izinto zokugeza, pajama, gown, ingubenye futhi for her.
Yeah.
And we go to the hospital. So we start by the emergency section just to check was she admitted and where. They say yes, she was. But now I left the mom-in-law at the tent because they could only allow one person in. So I go in. They showed me where she was sleeping. Then I got there. She was in isolation, and they had a tube to drain out the blood because she had blood internally. And now she's better. The face had swollen down, and she could talk now. The first thing that she said was, "Can you please give me water?" And then I remember telling her that this time around, when you get out of this hospital, you're going straight to Gogo. I'm no longer playing these games of these assaults. And she said yes. And we couldn't talk much because they said to me, no, we're not allowed to keep you here. So I asked, can I please go get her food? I said, okay, sure. So I went to go get her liquids, and then I brought them in. And then I called Gogo to just update her, and then we left with Mama. So 26, 27, 27 I called just to get a follow-up. And then the nurse said to me, no, if you want feedback properly, come on the 29th. I think it was Tuesday. Come on Tuesday. The doctors will be here. Okay, sharp. 27, 28. 29 I go back. 29 when I go back, so now at the gate they're asking me, you are early for people that are coming to visit. You're supposed to be at 2. I'm like, no, I got instructions from the nurses. They said I can come in the morning at 8. They then called the ward to confirm if the person is in the ward. They say yes. And then they gave me like a paper to go in with so that they don't turn me away inside. So I'm figure. So I told them I'm here for Nomvula and I just want to know what's happening. She was admitted on the 21st and all of that. So the nurses are like, today it's pretty much busy. And the doctors are just running up and down. So we can't really give you feedback. The doctor is the one that's supposed to give you feedback. I'm like, it's fine, I'll wait. They're like, okay, you can wait outside by the passage there, outside the ward.
Mm-hmm.
So I sat there. I think I sat there from 8 a.m. until 12 noon. And then that's other doctor, he comes to me and says, you've been sitting here. You know, what's happening? I said, no, I'm here for feedback of one of the patients, my mom. He says, you know what, follow me. And then we go in and then he calls those doctors. He says, you know what, you're going to have a conversation with this woman. You're going to tell her what's happening. And then, So they called me into a separate room, and then they made me sign a book where I think that's where they would then make the family members of the patients sign that they did have a conversation with you, where the state of the health of the person. So they then explained to me that actually your mom's, the other lung that was functioning was bruised by her ribs. It was actually punctured by her ribs, so it has collapsed. So she's having difficulties breathing. And then on top of that, you know that she already has a chronic illness with the other lung. So it's giving her problems to breathe. Although also your mom has a tiny body, so the amount of the assaults that had on her, it's very traumatic to the body. So yeah, right now she is like very ill. And at that time I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah, they're like, yeah. So I said to them, can I see her? I said, yeah, I'll take you to her. So as we went in the ward, and she was having difficulty breathing. She was making sounds, and I still live with those sounds in my mind. So I tell her that it is me, Robuta, and I'm here to see you. And then I started praying. So this other doctor walks in and says to me, don't worry about it. We are taking her to ICU because she's having difficulty breathing, and we're just hoping it's gonna help her. So at this moment I'm like, oh God, Kanti, what's happening? What's happening? Just when I thought we were having this relationship now. So eventually I leave the hospital, and one of the nurses says to me, I know you. You would usually bring your mom for her treatment. I said, yeah. She said, don't worry. I'm going to do all we can. So I leave the hospital. So the hospital, it's same yard as the taxi rank. So as I stepped into the taxi, they call me back in the hospital. They say, no, we need to talk to you at the ICU. But first, go get your mom's belongings because we don't use any of those belongings in the ICU. Just go get the things at the ward. So I stepped in the ward and take the beds and the other food. And then we go to ICU.
Uhamba wetu.
Hamba ngedwa. Because when I went to go see her on the 29th, I'm begging one. Because they only allow one person.
Yes.
So I go to ICU. When I get to ICU, I can hear her sounds from outside the ICU. And then they say to me, no, just wait there by the chairs, then we're still busy with her. And then for a while it goes quiet. Oof. Now I'm trying to pray, but not even words are coming. I'm just sitting. And then the sounds come back. Like, okay, maybe she's back. And then for a while it goes quiet again. I'm like, okay. So after some time, they call me. So now they've closed the curtain. They call me to a separate room, and I think there was like 6 people. They closed the door. And the doctor that had said to me, don't worry, we're taking her to ICU, kneeled next to me. And she looks at me, she says to me, we tried everything. We tried everything we could to put on the tubes. But the mom was tiny. And it was just giving us problems. And her heart just stopped. So yeah, that's what happened. And I've never cried like this in my life. Don't I memeza? And they were just there trying to calm me down. And they were telling me it's okay. if you need us to fill in any forms regarding opening a case, you can just come straight to us. I said, okay, sure. And then I was shaking. I didn't know. Like everything stopped for a moment, and it felt different. I don't know. I felt like, is this how people feel like when they lose people closer to their hearts? You know, and so I took the bags and then I walked out and I was just crying on the way to the tent, all the way to the tent. And I was sitting there in the tent and thinking to myself, it's not possible. It is not. Probably they'll call me to say actually she's woken up. But part of me felt like the reason why I stayed there in the hospital and refused to leave when the nurses said to me, you can leave because the doctors are too busy to come talk to you. I felt like it was her saying, don't go. I said, stay there. And yeah. So I called my ex-husband and said, please come fetch me. And yeah, this is what had happened. So he came. We went to, so I had called Gogo to tell her, but yeah, she was normal. So we went to Gogo and yeah, I've never felt the same ever since that day. And yeah, it was then the funeral arrangement preparation, and mom's things dragged. To get her out of hospital was a mission. They said to me, we can't give her to you until we open a case. So we went to open a case. The police station that we went to, they said to us, no, we can't open this case because the assault happened in Roodepoort side. So you have to go to Roodepoort. The following day we went to Roodepoort. It was on the 1st of January. So mom passed away on the 29th of December. 1st January we went to police station to open a case. And it was draining because they kept asking me the same questions. Please narrate to us what happened. So when you went to go fetch her, how did she look like? And all of that. I'm like, you guys. But yeah, I had all the patients, because we wanted the case number so that we can release her body to the burial site. And then when we finally got hold of the body, she was supposed to go for a postmortem since it was a murder case. It took us 2 weeks to get the postmortem done because apparently there was a backlog at the forensics and there was just too many bodies. And then I think at one point the lady at the burial society said she had to pay extra money so that they move her body closer to, because now 3 weeks later the body it's no longer fine. So eventually again on the 15th of June we then buried her. Now where is boyfriend in the midst of everything? So after mom's passing away, we went to her shack to just go get her clothes, some of the clothes. And then we just spoke to her spirits, and then we told her that you are gonna go home now. And then we went to the boyfriend, and then we found him there. And then we told him that okay, she's no longer, she passed away. And he said he's sorry and all of that. And I wasn't convinced. I was just angry at him. And looking at him being the person that he is, I was like, you know what, when I feel like if I can push you, you can die just now. So I'm not gonna even try and get physical with you. So we left, and I remember it took the police, I think, over a month to finally go arrest him. So in between, the police kept calling to say, okay, we need you to come sign this, we need statement from you regarding this, and all of that, and all of that. And I'm asking myself, why is it taking long? Because now it's no longer an assault case, it's a murder case. said to me, we want to gather as much information as we can, so that when we go arrest him, he goes in. And then eventually, February, they said to me, if you're able, can you please let's meet up in Woodcourt, at 5 a.m. Okay, sure. We got there. He was still asleep. Bakokota, and then some went to the back of the shack, and Tamarafu, there was nowhere to run to, and they said dress up, and they asked him, do you know why we're here? And he says yes, and then they say, okay, there's nothing else we would say to you, and besides that you are arrested, and let's go. And I don't know how he felt when he saw me, but I know, there was anger in me when I saw him. But there was that controlled anger that, I'm not going to stood solo and try and do something stupid. And so he has been in jail since then. So that's how it happened. That's how we lost Mom. And I was never the same. And just to top it all, a month later, we then broke up with my then husband. And I think Smangele went down the drain because, I used to survive on alcohol from there. And I'm better now. I'm better. It's becoming better, but
Whew, that was a lot. And I want to say thank you. I want to say thank you for allowing us into that space. I know this journey was about you allowing us in, but still, I want to say thank you. I personally never take for granted when someone shares who they are with me, because it is a privilege for me to be given space into your heart. So I want to thank you for that. I want to say I am sorry for the 25th of December being a trigger for so much for you. I want to acknowledge your courage. I want to acknowledge your bravery. I want to acknowledge your wisdom. And when I say wisdom, you use the words, I was angry, I could push him, I could this. But you had something in you that said, be still. And for me, that is wisdom. Wisdom of seeing beyond that immediate moment. I want to thank you for your tears, because emotions give others permission to share their emotions. So I want to thank you for those also. I want to also say, and it's something that I always hold dear, that our tears are not wasted. I always imagine God nezandla zakhe ekhongozela iinyembezi zethu. And he uses iinyembezi zethu to water the gardens of the joy that comes out of pain. And I would love for us to actually end it here today.
Yes.
Because you've said a lot. And I think you used the word, Smangele has never been the same. And that is something that we can step into next time, in the next conversation. But I just want to honor this moment. I want to honor this space. I want to honor you. I want to honor your mom's memory also. And I want to honor the beautiful relationship that God gave you in the last 3 years, that allowed you to imagine you're able to think of that time when you went to the restaurants and you have a fork and knife. So I want to honor that. And I just want to say to those watching us in this space, I want to say that you are seen, you are heard, and you are held. And I want to thank you you for being a part of this journey with us. And as you start your own journey, I want to remind you that every day when we wake up, it's because our story is not done, and that our stories are beautiful. No matter what they look like, they are beautiful because we are created in beauty and love. So thank you for joining us in this episode. I just want to remind everyone that we do have the numbers up on our pages for you to chat to psychologists, for you to go to crisis centers should you need them. So that is us for today, and we will see you